good, is in for Keith today. It sounds like we have another day to enjoy a little breather before this all gets here.
Exactly. We had a cold front that moved through yesterday, gave us some showers, but a pretty nice day out today. And tomorrow will be pretty good too. So good days to prepare, because the weekend is where things are going to start getting a little bit dicey. But like I said, today ended up not being too bad of a day, especially as we got into the afternoon. We got to see some peaks of sunshine, and overall it turned out to be a pretty nice day. And in terms of radar, we are going to stay dry for the rest of the day today and into tomorrow as well, but the weekend is when things are going to start to change. Temperature-wise, we got into the mid-70s in most spots, a little bit warmer down along the southern coast and a little bit cooler inland, but a pretty typical fall day out there. But as we get into the hour by hour is when we are going to see where these changes are afoot. So if you see these kinds of bands of clouds across the map here, these are clouds out ahead of Hurricane Lee, which is going to creep closer throughout the day on Friday, and we're going to start seeing the impacts in the form of rain and wind as we go into early on Saturday morning. This first band of rain here, the model puts going into down East Maine at around Saturday at 1 a.m. So we are going to see bands of rain throughout the day, and the heaviest rain and the highest wind gusts are going to be in down East Maine. So the farther west you go, the less impacts you are going to see, but the storm is very large, so we are expected to see areas of localized flooding and high wind gusts that could cause some power outages throughout most of Maine. But the good news is that this storm is fast. As we get into Sunday, things are already clearing out, so it'll be a good day for us to kind of recover after the storm moves through on Saturday. So currently, this storm is just to the west of Bermuda, and if you notice, it's kind of stretching itself out from north to south, but that's actually an indication that this storm is weakening. Currently a Category 1, and it's going to continue to move into colder and colder water, which is going to bring more strength away from it. So at this point, making landfall likely as a less than a Category 1, in a tropical storm. The cone once again has shifted more to our east towards Nova Scotia and Canada, but we are going to still feel the effects outside of that cone. Right now, looking at peak wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour, mainly from the northerly direction. So this could cause some power outages from downed trees, so you'll want to be aware of that. And along the coastline, we could see some high waves and rip currents as well. Just offshore, could be seeing waves between 15 and 20 feet. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a lot of watches and warnings over the past couple of days. They replaced the tropical storm watches with tropical storm warnings for most of down East Maine and along the coastline of Maine, and they have also issued a coastal flood warning for the coast of down East Maine. So here are the impacts that we're looking at for Lee. High surf, rip currents, and beach erosion are going to be impacts throughout all of along the coastline. Rain and wind, it's going to be stronger the farther east you are, but we are expecting power outages and localized flooding to be possible, especially along the coastline throughout most of the state. And the impacts, I think, are best categorized by being like a strong nor'easter. Obviously, this is not a nor'easter, but it's similar to one in terms of the impacts that we're going to see. Currently, though, seas 5 to 8 feet, and that water is at 66 degrees. So Friday will be a last day to kind of set up your preparations. You want to prepare for being without power for a couple of days possibly, but we're not looking at a catastrophic storm here. I want to make that very clear. And as we go into Saturday, that's where we'll see most of those impacts, but it's a quick moving storm. So by Sunday, we'll be able to move into the cleanup phase. So Brian and Amanda, I've been saying over the past couple of hours, you want to prepare for this storm, but you don't want to panic about it either. And I think Mainers are very familiar with nor'easters, so we can think of this as kind of a very rainy nor'easter.
That said, I think it's fair to say that this will impact everyone.
Absolutely.
It'll just be worse in some parts. All right.
Dana,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.